What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to another episode of The Dossier, the Marvel Crisis Protocol show where we discuss all things Crisis Protocol characters, from their models, their design, how they're painted, up to the character card itself, and how they might perform on the table. Remember, these videos are not meant to be comprehensive discussions of the characters themselves. These are just meant to be jumping off points, kind of give you an idea of the character, what's available on his card, and maybe encourage you to dig a little bit deeper and see what else is out there. So today we are going to be talking about the Blob, and this is a character that I think got a little overshadowed by his boxmate, which was Pyro, who I don't believe we've talked about yet. I've really liked the Blob since he's shown up in the game, but I don't feel we see him enough. So let's talk the model. And I mean, there's not really a whole lot you can do here with the Blob. He's just a really big guy here. I think they captured that really well. I like the fact that, while he's clearly a heavy-set gentleman, I like the fact that they did look like they tried to sculpt some muscle onto him as well. So it's clear that he's not just all fat. He does have some strength to him as well, which is really kind of nice. I love the little broken concrete at his foot that indicate he's heavy, he's smashing, he's really got some weight to this model. And I think it's very well designed in that regard. For a very simple model, it's actually quite a nice one with a lot of the little details that they got in here. Very easy to assemble. There wasn't a whole lot to it. I mean, the torso, the arms, the legs, very easy model to assemble. So, and even easier to paint at times, as long as you're okay with painting a lot of sort of like smooth lines and panels and everything like that. So as for his card, for Mr. Fred Dukes, he's 4/2/2 for his defenses. He's a 6 stamina, 3 threat, size 3, and he is slow moving. His stamina stays the same on both sides. So he's got 12 stamina for a 3 threat, which is really kind of nice. It means he's kind of bulky there. But if you run into energy or mystic defense, and this could be why we don't see a lot of them, especially with Guardians kind of chewing up the meta and Malekith being what he was at the time, he does go down to a lot of other attacks kind of easily, like if you really want to put it into him. So what do we got here? We got his first attack, which is a physical strike, range 2, 5 dice for 0 power. It is your typical builder attack with a wild push of size 3, pushing away short. I mean, it's pretty basic. The downside is he's a slow mover on a medium-sized base, so it takes him it takes a little bit of effort to get him where he needs to be to make that to make those strikes. But he has some really nice control pieces when he gets going. We had a physical thunderous splash, range 3, 7 dice for 3 power. I love this one. Before damage is dealt, place this character within range 1 of the target characters. So we have a great way of getting him up the board. Range 3 is always a lot longer than a lot of people give it credit for, especially on that big base. And being able to place him within that close range is really kind of nice. And he's got a wild explosive force. This one's really cool. After the attack is resolved, other characters within 2 of this character are pushed away from this character short, and they suffer 1 damage. Now note that this is other characters, so this does include allied characters. It is one of those. It's one of those abilities that unfortunately is not agnostic to who controls what models. So be very careful about that when you use this ability. But it is a great way to clear off a point if you're running on an E-shaped map or a C-shaped map or something like that, and there's a lot of people congregated on a single point. This is a great way of kind of clearing them out. We have Catch Little Man, an active power for 3. This is a size 3 terrain throw that can be thrown medium from within range 2. Again, medium range throw, really solid here. It's a great way of clearing out some terrain. Nice little bit of extra damage that he can put through here. And the nice thing is that he's not horribly power starved. So you should be able to get Catch Little Man regularly, Thunder Splash regularly. He's got some good tech for it. Then we got a reactive ability for 1 power. Ha ha ha, that tickles. If this character would suffer 1 damage from an attack, it can use the superpower, reduce the amount of damage suffered by 1 to a minimum of 1. And then if the attacking character is within 3 of it, you can push them away short. So Blob is just an all-around control character. Like all of his attacks are basically trying to push somebody away. And it is a great way to throw him onto an objective and just kind of like keep people away from it if he gets a chance to punch him back or anything like that. I've played some games where Blob's control has just been absolutely key, and it's done some really cool, great things. And then last thing, we have nothing can move the Blob. This character cannot be pushed or thrown as the result of attack special rules. So it's also very important to note that that is attack special rules, not superpowers. So anything that will push or throw him from a superpower will still push or throw him, but if it's the result of attack, say, what is it, Thor's throw condition or throw wild on his strike, that will not throw him, or another blob will not push him from his attacks, for instance. But for instance, like another ha 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 that tickles will push blob. So that's a very important thing to note right there. It's an unfortunate distinction, especially considering we've recently gotten Colossus who just can't be pushed at all. But it is a nice touch to it, and makes him very hard to displace as well from the more typical things. You're going to have to spend that power on that push or that throw from your superpowers in order to do it. So where does that leave Blob? Well, I think Blob is one of those utility characters that he can find a home in a lot of places. If you really want to load up the control between terrain throws or pushes or all that sort of stuff, I think Blob is always going to find a nice home in there. He always pairs really well with other Brotherhood mutants. He's got a great card with Toad. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. I think it's Leapfrog, which allows you to basically activate, or at least get an action with Toad after Blob activates. And you can do some cool stuff there. So I think he really definitely has a home with the other Brotherhood's mutants, wherever Toad might be in there. But where else could he be found? Well, at 3 threat, he's very easy to slide in anywhere. So if you need a character that is a little physically resilient and can push some people around, I think he can actually find a good home in there. He could be kind of interesting off of new King T'Challa's leadership when he hits with Warrior Falls in February, because you're going to be able to get some extra fun stuff through the collisions there. But yeah, it's you really slot him in where you think he might be needed. The only downside about him is that he is fighting for space with a bunch of other really solid 3 threats, and that's kind of the unfortunate story of Blob in this game, that he's overshadowed by some other really good 3 threats in the game as well, especially, as we mentioned earlier, his boxmate Pyro. It's one of those things where sometimes range or more status conditions are a little bit more important. You can get control out of a lot of things, especially with some of the big popular pieces like Hulk or Malekith, or even CGR these days, going into a lot of lists, and them just having some really solid built-in control with the throws or their pushes or stuff like that. So try him out. See if he works for you. If you have a way to keep him consistently powered up, or even give him a reroll on his defenses and make that 12 stamina really work for you, he can really do some nice stuff. He is a nightmare to take off the table if you don't have the right tools for it, especially given that that tickles is going to be pushing people away all the time. So it's going to be really hard to double tap him outside of range 4, just because he's going to be pushing you away so often in that regard. But that is Fred Dukes the Blob. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you thought about the character, whether or not you've had some success with him, and where you like to see him. And of course, we will see you next time. Happy wargaming.